Hello, hello. It says live video is just starting. There we are. All right. I I wrote some post details. So basically, I was going through my feed and I saw this clip of John Denver, and I'm like, I need to talk about this. So here we are. It reminds me of a time I've I've been a songwriter, and I felt that it was a divine calling for me to be a composer and a songwriter, and yet the act of it was so painful for me, trying to find the right words that would make people care at all. Because I was always asking myself, well, what what makes a hit song a hit song? Like, what do people want to hear? What do people need to hear? And uh, I didn't know. And then I saw this clip, and there was the one time that I wrote a really good song that I didn't have to work at all. I simply received it. Now, I didn't have the pressure of doing it live on stage in front of thousands of people as an established performer. Like, oh my gosh, the trust that John had in that moment. But see, it starts with him saying, I've been trying to write this song for 2 years, and I was not going to let this event end once again without having this song that I promised my friend who's right here in the audience. So this is for you. That's what compelled him to do it. He shared. He's like, I have two lines, and that's it. So here we go. And he just started, and then the thing just flowed out of him like water. And you'd think, he he wrote it, he practiced it, but no, it was in the moment. He sang that song, the words and the music, because he had to think of the chords progression. No, I sometimes I struggle with chord progressions, but I think the melody just sang itself, which then informed the chords, is my guess. But so it was melody and words just poured out of him. And that happened once for me too. And it was powerful. It was powerful in a few ways because I'd always had this feeling that music, like all the music that we've heard in the world, exists somewhere. And those of us who write it, it isn't that anybody can really do this, but it's just that we take the time to listen. We listen for it, and we learn the skills we need to be able to bring it out into the world. And I've kind of lost my trust in listening because it just got hard. I got stuck. And so when I see people putting out songs or writing compositions, I'm like, dang, that's awesome. I'm so glad you can do that because I can't anymore. And I think my guys are saying, don't be so sure about that. But it's just so inspiring to see him have this flow out of him, and the song that flowed out of me. I remember I thought about it, it's like, okay, how did that happen? And I was in a lesson with my songwriting teacher, and it was almost Thanksgiving, almost the end of the semester, and I realized all we had been doing all semester was looking at songs I had already written. I didn't write anything new. Like this is a songwriting class. Like, what are you doing? And so I said, I'm coming back with a new song. I just stood there and I said, this is what's going to happen. And it happened that day. And I was driving home from that lesson, and I saw this billboard of the Union Gospel Mission. I'm like, oh, I remember that. When I lived in Wisconsin, I would get a card in the mail around Thanksgiving time saying, $11 can feed 7 people or something. It was insane. I was like, holy moly, that's awesome. And so I would send money. And this year, I just did not have any money to give. And I'm like, well, now what do I do? And the thought was, well, you could give them a song. Like, okay. It's so interesting how I don't value my gifts. Yeah, need to work on that one. So I got home and I was just doing my thing in my home, and suddenly these words were being sung to me. I'm like, hold up. This is my thought process from an hour ago. That can be a song? That just completely blew my mind. I'm like, I thought we had to go through this whole process of, metaphor and all this stuff. And it's like, this is just my thought process. But it just flowed out of me. It was just, here were the words and the music all ready for me. I just had to write it down. I just had to, figure out what those notes were on the piano, and then the chords just happened underneath. I was like, well, it just flowed out of me. And it was wonderful. It felt so good not to have to work at it, for it to just flow out of me. And then the crazy thing was, I'd been trained. I'd written songs before Berkeley, and they were heartfelt, and they were not structured very well. And so Berkeley taught me how to structure them so that they look more professional or sound more professional. And so I had the training, and I was trying to create from the training. And the song flowed out of me, and as I'm writing it down, I'm like, hold up. That's that song technique, and that's that song technique, and that's, oh my goodness. And then when I took it to my teacher the next week, he's like, do you see what you did here? You did this and you did this. And he said, Laura, anybody would enjoy hearing this song. Anybody. I was like, really? Huh. Interesting. And I didn't write it, I just received it. What could we do? What impact could we make in the world if we simply just allowed to receive? What could we do? What is that even about? Receive from what? Receive from whom? What are you talking about? It's like, because I just kept thinking, oh, that was my higher self, basically wrote this for me. But what if it was just me, a me that I hadn't really connected with, just rev- wrote this thing because it was from, I don't know. This just came to me. So I was like, where do we go with this? This is interesting. I don't know. So here's the thing. What impact can we make if we just allow to receive? Hmm. Allow to receive. Interesting. Yeah. So, yeah. So, what is something you could do today? How could you allow to receive today? And what would happen if you did that? The power of receiving. So, what would you have to do to be able to receive? To allow to receive? I found that when I prayed for a long, long time, I was praying at God or at my guides, and I wasn't really listening because I didn't trust that there was anything to hear. I thought if I got quiet, I would just be in silence for forever. Oh dear. But, then someone helped me learn to receive energy. And the thing that he learned was that when he just asked, it always came every time without fail. Like, huh. So, like, one day I was like, I can't feel love. And he's like, well, I can prove to you that it's real. And then he had me do the invocation. And he's like, it's right here. Are you going to let it in? Just let it in. He was like, and we were doing a healing session at the time, and he was just begging me for like 20 minutes. Like, would you please, please, please just let this in? And it was like, I was doing what I could, but what I don't think he understood was by him telling me that it was there, I believed him. And so then I allowed it to try to help me. And it did. It took a while to break through the pain that I was feeling, but it did. And then I was free. And then, oh my goodness, my world just opened up because I was finally free from that pain that was shutting things off, shutting me off from the possibilities that were available to me. And so I learned how to allow, I learned how to call in my higher self and then relax and simply allow my higher self to come to me. And the funny thing is, every time I think about that, I see my bassoon. I played bassoon in high school, and I had a private teacher for a little while, and she said, "You're always going to it. You know it can come to you." I'm like, wait, what? Like, let the bassoon come to you. So then I sat back and let it come to me, and I'm like, oh, it fixed some problems apparently. But that's what I always think when I think about allow it to come to you. Too funny. But yeah, so allowing my higher self to come to me. And there would be all these times where I worked with this healer. I've worked with this healer for quite some time now, a year and a half, which feels like forever to me. But I've been in his membership for as long as that, and he does 3 a week, and so I hear him doing this a lot. Like, get passive, relax, don't try to make anything happen, don't try to bring it to you, let it come to you. And I just think of a shower head. Like, when we take a shower, do we go and grab the water out of the shower head? No. We just let it run over us, right? We just let it pour over us. And it's the same idea here. Like, you don't have to go grabbing for it. You don't have to reach for it. No. You just let it come to you. Because it will. You just have to let it. And then it's like, but nothing's happening. Well, that could be one of two things. It could be that you just aren't feeling energy yet, or you're resisting it. And see, that was what it was for me in the beginning. It's like this healer said, "Well, I have these invocations." I'm like, "Yeah, but they don't work for me." And so then he had me try it in front of him, and he said, "Oh, you're resisting." And as soon as he said that, I felt it in my chest. I was like, "Oh, you're right." And then it came in. And then I remember thinking, I can work with this. And that was the door that opened. I opened the door for a miracle to happen in my life. And I think there are more miracles to come. I just have to learn how to release the resistance to receiving the gifts that Spirit has for me today. The peace, the joy, collaborations, possibilities, all kinds of things. So that's what I'm going to work on today. I'm going to work on allowing to receive and being aware that resistance might be getting in the way, and doing using the tool. So how do I handle resistance? Well, in that case, when he noticed that I was resisting it and I could feel it in my chest, he told me to simply be with it and then go back to zero. I was like, "What are you talking about?" So my higher self said, "Just breathe. Just take in a deep breath and release it on the exhale." Oh, I can do that. So that's what I did. And yeah, so it can be just noticing, is there some place in your body where you're feeling tension or feeling, you know, uh, resistance in some form? Then you just be with it and take in a deep breath and release it on the exhale. If it's some other kind of resistance, a healing invocation can be very helpful. And so, what's an invocation? You're just asking. So, you can just say, "Higher self, please come," or the words that I teach people are maximum embodied awakening that serves highest good, please. That's what starts the whole thing. And then the healing invocation is just maximum healing that serves highest good, please. That's it. And then you just let it go and you let them do their thing. And they will do something. And you'll feel something, maybe a slight shift. You might feel energy in your body that wasn't there before, that kind of thing. Um, and then you just let that wind down, and then you can call an embodied awakening again and see if you can feel it even stronger. If you're not really feeling anything, you can say maximum awareness of the energy right here, right now, to the greatest extent that serves highest good, please. Yeah. And then if you're like, well, I'm not sure if this will work for me, uh, you're welcome to hop on a call with me and I'll guide you through it. I tend to be pretty good at that, guiding people to experiencing things they didn't know they could experience. But basically, I just open the door to connection with your higher self, with your authentic self, with your guides, with your loved ones. That's what I do. So, I hope this is helpful, and I'd love to hear from you. If you found this helpful, just say yes in the comments. That would be fantastic. Thank you. Bye.